This video is brought to you by Sync, voice-activated in-car technology available exclusively on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. Sync, powered by Microsoft.
Hi, I'm Morgan Gray, Senior Producer at Capcom, and today at CES we're showing off some of the early looks at Dark Void. For those not familiar with Dark Void, you play as Will, a down on his luck cargo pilot, takes a detour through the Bermuda Triangle, ends up in an alien dimension known as the Void, where humanity is being subjugated by a group of aliens called the Watchers. Will joins forces with a few survivors and commences with kicking some serious alien butt. At its heart, Dark Void's a mixture of a number of different gameplay types. We have on-ground, cover-based shooting. We have in-the-air dogfighting with the jetpack, and we have something unique called vertical combat that we're going to be showing you today. You can see Will working his way here through. Nice, got him to commit, take him out from behind. We'll wind here, and we're going to actually sort of get to what I think is one of the coolest aspects about Dark Void, which is flight. Now, the thing to know about Dark Void is all of these sort of gameplay types, on ground, in air, vertical, all coexist simultaneously. So it's not like you do the shoot level to the fly level. It all happens at the same time in the game world. For purposes of a little understanding, we have some buddies that are trapped behind a shield. Will needs to take out these shield generators to set them free. So like that, hits a button, bam, gets into the air. You can see flying with a jetpack on your back isn't the safest thing in the world, so, watch Will's feet dangle around, move around. We don't, since we don't want to encourage you to use a jetpack, and let's say, hey, when you get down to it, he's got it on him. We don't do any sort of fuel meter on flight, though we do a sort of time-based boost meter if you need to get somewhere quick, or more likely than not, get out of somewhere quick. So we're going to fly over here to one of these generators, switching into hover mode with a button press, get back on ground and start taking these guys out. We have blind fire, focus in. Something unique to Dark Void, like you don't need to just sort of like worm your way to an enemy. Because you have the jetpack, you can do a quick hover jump and sort of bring the fight straight to them. We're hoping that players take advantage of that and get a little more active in how they go through, but if you're a slow, methodical kind of player, we support that too. Whole host of weapon types between your standard sort of humanity's bullet using machine gun to one of these Watcher guns. We call it the disintegrator. It disintegrates, aptly named. Also, another human that's sort of important to the movement out here is Nikola Tesla. You may not have known this, but he sort of disappeared for a couple days before his actual demise in reality. For us, we say he was in the void, so he's been working with the survivors, arming them up so that they're able to sort of mount the resistance here. And he's the one who's bringing the pack to you, as well as some of the more exotic weaponry. We're doing cook grenades. It's always good to cook your meal before you serve it so they don't throw it back. You can see a melee attack, followed up with a disintegrator combo. Always a good thing. Will's trying to get through the enemies here so he can actually hit an access switch and make his way into the interior of this generator to take it out for good. Moves down, Will hits the switch, literally. It's going to drop that bottom shield. As he warms his way out, now we're going to get to something that's super cool. So, we've seen some on ground, you've seen them flying. Now we're about to go to a sequence that involves our vertical cover, which is unique to Dark Void. It's sort of the tie that binds both flying and on ground. So we do a quick little stunt out there, fly into the interior, hit hover, attach ourselves, and now we're in what we call vertical combat. So you can see jetpack is helping Will hold on for dear life as he does a vertical ascent up and takes out enemies that are going to be attacking him from every direction possible. I call it 360 degrees of damage. You see, look down. If you're not the one controlling the camera, it could be a little jarring, and that's intentional. We kind of want to get that sense of vertigo. You can see hopped up with a button, down with a melee attack, taking out the enemies from this way. And we're doing some crazy things with this verticality in the game. In fact, verticality is sort of at the center stage of what the experience that we're trying to make here. What we're trying to do here is warm our way up so that we can take out this sort of generator base from the inside out. It's another cool, it's my personal favorite melee. The achievement toss, throwing a grenade in vertical, always very tough. And one of the cool things that, again, as we try to encourage player choices, you can be a little more slow and methodical, go cover point to cover point. You can also be a little crazier and just fly in. We're really leaving it up to the player to figure out, what their playstyle is, how bold they are, how brave they are. Another thing that's been happening in the Dark Void space is that we started to discover ways to really get some of that platformy gameplay in with the vertical cover system. So you can sort of worm your way from spot to spot. And so you will take a brave, quick flight jump, go into a hover, back into vertical. Oh, and it's a Will death. Now that Will's made his way back up here, he's going to defeat a couple more enemies. Make sure the coast is clear. There we go. I love it when they do the dance. I love it when Will wins. We mantle up, hit this switch, and it's going to sort of set this thing to go to a chain reaction going critical. Will's got to get his way out of here. Gets out in time. This generator is going to blow. It's sort of weaken the shield that your friends are trapped in, but not take it out all the way. And the Watchers have sent in some reinforcements. Now you get to see some of the cool dogfight action. I call it meat versus metal. Will using his jetpack, he's got some guns on it. They're not the strongest things in the world, and Will certainly isn't, but they're enough to do the job. Now, Dark Void's being developed in conjunction with Airtight Games. Some of you may know them from Crimson Skies and the Xbox One. They left Microsoft and started their own deal, and this is the first game to come out of that. So there's that flight lineage. Those that like dogfighting combat. You can see those stunts that Will are pulling off are both awesome to look at and completely functional, sometimes mandatory. One UFO down.
Yeah, he's like, he obviously hasn't played that much shooter. Oh, sorry, did you want to inside?
At some point in time, I would love to see us do the skywriting minigame in Dark Void, but probably won't get to that in time, though it would be rad. You see, if Will wants to get a little more firepower and a little metal between him and death, he can attach into an enemy UFO, do this minigame here, sort of cat and mouse, get the pilot to commit, gain access to that access hatch. He's trying to expose the pilot and take over his craft. Again, purely up to the player. Small little fight, and Will is running the show in the UFO. Now, as Will finishes off these remaining UFOs, one of the things to know about Dark Void is we do a lot with our environments transition-wise. Like, we start off sort of jungly, we get a little more surreal. By the time we end the game, we're in crazy land, alien, alternate dimensions. So it's going to provide a nice, rich visual palette as you work your way through the void. Game of chicken, and oh, the UFO doesn't make it, but Will does. Now, one more generator to take out and get the friends free. So we've gone in from the bottom on one of these shield generators. Will's going to go in through the top. Again, the goal with vertical combat is to sort of mix up and down seamlessly throughout the play space, always working for that sense of vertigo. And we start it and ascend down. You can start to see some of the enemies doing what I call the spider monkey. I don't actually know if spider monkeys move like this, but if they don't, they should. You got some of the melee down action. Sometimes with vertical, it gets hard to tell whether you're looking up and or down. I generally decide whichever way the bodies are falling is down. Though I'm sure before it's all said and done, that also won't always be the case. Using the disintegrator gun to reach out and touch a Watcher pawn. So one of the things to understand with our enemy types, I think, watching the forums and reading what everyone has to say, everyone thinks robots, actually they're exoskeletons, and that means that there's something gooey on the inside. We're not showing too much of that yet, but before we're done here today, we're going to show you at least one of the evolutionary forms of the Watchers themselves that inhabit these machines. Spoiler alert. I love it when they get shot from behind. So Will can play it safe with the cover or just do a quick hop down. Again, we're really not trying to limit player tactical choice, so I want people to feel free to move around at will. No pun intended. So we come back to Will, we've dropped the shield, and now we're going to meet the Archon. It's our baby mini boss. It's the tiny one. Now, this guy's working on AI. The goal here right now is Will's trying to stop this guy from blowing up his friends while they make their escape. You fly around, you shoot some weak spots. You can come to a hover, use your hand-based weapon to start taking this out. You got to avoid that AA fire. The cool thing is this guy is actually AI. He's not working a spline. He's actually thinking and walking. Or as thinking and as walking as anything gigantic can. Now, a cool thing about Dark Void is sense of scale. When you're flying, things can look a lot smaller than they are. When we get you down here so you can get to the exposed chest area, you can start to really get a sense that even our baby boss goes a little big. Again, we're Capcom, so we like big scale. Avoid the laser of death. We'll get that exposed chest area, weaken him up. Now it's time to get, again, up close and personal. A lot of our mini boss fights work in between sort of live gameplay action interspersed with some of these quick time events. If you're old school like me, I like to call him the Dragon Slayer. Will's got to hold on and work his way up the back. What we're basically trying to do now is we've disabled some of the weak spots. We're going for that pilot. As I said, everything that you're seeing that's an enemy combatant has something living inside. We're going to put an end to this once and for all. Think of the Archon kind of like an enemy tank. You'll be fighting several of them throughout the game. You'll be fighting gaggles of them at the same time. And then we start introducing even bigger and badder enemies. So we open up the panel, pilot madly leaps out, and Will gets a quick fight for his life to take out that Watcher. That's a sneak peek of Dark Void. We're coming out later on this year on Xbox 360, PS3, and PC, so check it out.